we know you have a lot of options for vacation and second homes. And so what I want to do in this video is give you a few reasons why Destin, Florida should make that final cut for you in terms of picking out a place for retirement, vacation, maybe even an investment property that kind of leverages other people's desires to come to our beautiful Emerald Coast here. So the first reason is very apparent. It's just the quality of our beaches. And so the water most days is crystal clear. If you go on a fishing charter and you're leaving the jetties going offshore, if you look down, hopefully without getting seasick, if you look down, you may see the bottom 25, 30 feet below. And it's just amazing to look down there and see dolphins and fish and all sorts of stuff. But, other places have beautiful beaches too. South Beach down in South Florida, the water's almost as clear. But their sand is it's real sharp and jagged, almost hurts your toes. Ours is like a sugar. I mean, it's beautiful. And that's really why the visibility is so good. It's almost like a white powder, and it reflects the light. So, you could see it comes up from the bottom. So we have the most beautiful beaches probably in the continental United States, right here. So our beaches are important. Secondly, our price point is modest when compared to other vacation remote markets. Now, if you're comparing a price of a condo here versus Omaha, Nebraska, Omaha is going to be cheaper. But if you compare Destin to, say, Naples, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale or somewhere like that, a little further down the peninsula, our prices look a little better then. So, you can maybe get a slightly larger unit, maybe get a 2 or 3 bedroom as opposed to a 1, have a little more space to spread out. Maybe instead of having being a walking distance to the beach, maybe you're right on it. Maybe you have that great coastal, shoreline view, or even maybe straight on. So our prices are a little bit better overall. We have a strong military footprint. So if you're in the armed forces and you're getting close to retirement, we capture a lot of those guys and gals. So they'll be stationed here or they'll visit, one of the several facilities we have in the area, and they'll be like, wow, look at this water. And so when it's time to retire, they'll select Destin, Florida, because we've got Eglin Air Base right here. There's a nice commissary. So if you need any sort of support services once you retire, there's a massive federal footprint in the area. So we get a lot of retirees. And look, these guys and gals, they served our country. They lived all over. And a lot of them are landing right here on the Emerald Coast. So that should tell you something. They know the country pretty well as much as they travel, and they're choosing to spend their retirement years on the Emerald Coast, and maybe you should too. Another thing to consider is, you hate to say the H word, but hurricanes. So, no area along the coast is immune. It would be malpractice for me to say that we don't get hurricanes. I mean, that's just not science. And so, we all face that threat anywhere along the coast. But follow me for a moment. If a storm approaches Destin, we're up here in the panhandle of Florida, and you need to evacuate, you just point the Jeep north. And every mile you drive north is a mile further away from the coastline and storm surge and the worst of the winds and whatnot. So, it's easier to evacuate. Plus, we're not a large city. So if you're stuck down in the peninsula in Naples, maybe you get caught up with people in Miami evacuating, or you go a little further up, you've got Tampa evacuating. And so if you're further down that peninsula, follow me here, Key West, and a storm approaches, you're within the cone for a long, long time on your evacuation. So you may leave Naples running from the storm. There's a lot of traffic because everyone's fleeing, and you may it may take you 10 hours to get to Tampa. And you get to Tampa, the storm jiggles a little bit. So, you're riding out a Cat 3 hurricane in a Motel 6. And so, whereas here in Destin, the Emerald Coast and the Panhandle, you just go north. You just go north, you get away from the worst of the winds and all the storm surge, and then you come back and do what you need to do. So along those lines, we've got a great transportation grid here. So, if you ask someone who hasn't practiced real estate here, where are the feeder markets? So where are the people coming from to buy these properties? You may say Atlanta, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Birmingham, and we do get a lot of those guys and gals here. One of the largest feeder markets is Minnesota. We get a lot of Wisconsin too. And so you might think, wow, that's a long way to go for saltwater. But the thing of it is, we've got, I think it's the fastest growing airport here, 15 miles away from us. And so what happens is you can hop on a plane in Minneapolis during season, and it's there's no connections. It's a direct flight. We have direct flights: Minneapolis, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, Atlanta, New Jersey. So New York City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and so we have direct flights that are pretty much hassle free. I mean, why drive for 18 hours when you can just hop on a plane, put on a movie, and when Star Wars is done, you're descending into Destin, Florida. And so we've got a great transportation network. If you do live in one of those, drivable cities like Atlanta, New Orleans, Birmingham, places like that. I mean, literally, you could finish work on a Friday afternoon in the summer, hop in the car, and before it gets dark, you're at your condo here in Destin. So we got a great transportation network. And then finally, we're not really a big city. So if you go to Fort Lauderdale, it's a beautiful area. The Diplomat Hotel there is amazing. I enjoyed my time visiting, but it's still a big city. Destin is a small town. And so the benefit of that is we have all of the amenities of a larger city because it's built around, the summer peak season. And so we've got the nice restaurants, we've got boutique shopping, we've got the big chains, whatever you're going to need. But 7 months out of the year, there's not much of a crowd. And so, yeah, it does get a little busy during tourist season. But for multiple months out of the year, you've got the benefit of all these amenities, but none of the hassle of, driving 45 minutes down an expressway of some sort. And so what a lot of folks do, they'll buy a vacation or second home. They'll rent it out during peak season, make some money to kind of offset the cost or whatnot. Then they'll enjoy it this time of year. We're right around, December right now as this is being recorded. So they'll take 2 weeks at the end of the year and just hang out on the coast. I mean, can't blame them, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And so if you're getting value out of this information, I try to do a couple of these a week. There's no cost or anything to it. Just hit that like button right there and then subscribe so you'll get a notification when I post new content. Feel like you want to explore the Emerald Coast a little more, just learn more about the area, maybe talk about buying or selling real estate. My name is Doug Rogers with RE/MAX Coastal Properties, 318-613-1994. Give me a shout out, send me a comment or message here, and I'll answer any questions you have. And hopefully I see you on the coast.